Vandana, the National Wiki Youth Representative, would like to welcome you all on behalf of the Women for Water of Bego's Initiative Healthy College. This is an initiative of the EGRC Ahmedabad with support of Wiki Water Resource Council and in collaboration with Advocates for Water. For this purpose, our media partner is Council. I am joined today with Madhumita, President of Wiki Water Resource Council. We are glad to start a movement dedicated to resource sharing of living which could provide women clean water sector. In this Monday Munching music series, we hope to bring alive experiences in a very disciplined manner like a masterclass. And today, for this masterclass, we are here to listen more about our State Vice President of Haryana, Madhumita Banerjee. Welcome, Madhumita, on board. Started and know more about how did you get started in this water sector? Can you just take us a little bit of your journey to the sector?
Okay, so first of all, thank you very much. I'm really proud to be part of Wiki Water Resource Council. And Vandana, I did my post-graduation in environmental science, and I did many years back during the period when environment really wasn't a concern at large. Because of lack of willingness to take it up over the period. I'm from Jaipur. I born and brought up there. In Rajasthan, we all are aware of the water scarcity. I have witnessed in my childhood that we used to get up very early morning, 4:30, to collect the water for throughout the day consumption. So water is something I have seen very personally, how difficult it is when there is no availability of water. Not to mention that I have been raised in urban area. So think about what probably going through in the rural areas and those areas where availability is very limited. So my professional association with water started when I joined an NGO here in Gurugram, Haryana, and Honorable Chief Minister Mr. Manohar Khattar came for a visit to a ditch. So a ditch, it was absolutely backside of a very known corporate office. So one fine day, while doing a discussion, and we were standing on the window, so the chairman saw the ditch from the window, and he said that why it is there, because you have such a beautiful corporate office and your window is towards a ditch, and you can imagine a ditch in the urban setup which is full with garbage, plastic waste and other things, and pigs were roaming around, rags were there. So it was not at all a good visual thing to see from a corporate office window side. So then me and my chairman spoke about this. We reach out to the chief minister, sir, and then kindly he agreed to visit the site. And that is how the political will came to do something, because most of such areas are neglected because of lack of political will, that departments keep on passing the ball to each other, that we are overloaded, this is not our job. But yes, we have seen in our experience that when there is a political will, things happens. So that is how the journey with water professionally started, where we took a pledge to restore and rejuvenate that ditch to be a pond. And much to be of your surprise that within a span of 2 years, now that site is a beautiful house for various birds, and people are taking a walk around the pond. So yes, that is how the water came in my life.
Oh, great to hear that. And I'm sure that it would have taken beyond political will, tremendous effort to convince all other stakeholders around. And I'm
Absolutely.
glad that you were part of it. So good to hear that. When I hear this, that you say that political will is significant, and at the same time, you say a lot of work has to go from your side. Can you describe a typical days of work for you? I'm saying this also from an additional perspective because I looked at your bio, okay, CV, that we do for all speakers. But then where I was quite intrigued by the way, you have written so much of analytical work and so much of, engagement with stakeholders. How do you manage to do it all in a day's time? So can you just take this moment to explain it to our viewers? How does it
Yeah.
happen?
Yeah, so Vandana, as you rightly mentioned, that political will works to take the project in the limelight. But at the end of the day, it is people like us who are the professionals, other stakeholders like the funding agencies, the local citizens who are residing near the area. They all are part of such projects, and without cooperation, without bringing everybody on the same table, no project can happen. So yes, essentially it's what we generally call networking is very strong tool in doing such kind of projects. So networking is not just reaching out to a person when you require them. Networking is something which we keep on doing on and off. It's like-minded people meeting for various reasons. We discuss about the area, we discuss about the air pollution, we discuss about water pollution, we discuss about waste management, because addressing one problem in silos is not going to solve the problem in holistically. So that is how to answer your questions, that how possibly I reach out to so many people and how possibly I have created this network. It's meeting people, meeting one, more and more people, figuring out those people who are like-minded, who really find their passion into doing something for the society, something for the nature, something for our biodiversity. They definitely reach out to you after probably meeting after a workshop, probably in a casual meeting. Many a time it happened that I went to meet a officer for a particular purpose and somebody else was sitting there, but then we get into conversation and he took an interest. The very next day he called me, okay, I would like to come to your site. So that is how, chain builds up and it goes on and on and on, pretty much like we all women are working together right now.
Yes, yes. Taking the clue from there, I think Mansi would be very interested to know more about this networking aspect that you just highlighted. Over to you, Mansi.
Thanks, Vandana. Thanks for the lovely start, and good to hear, Madhumita, that the journey started with a pond making. So very interesting. Uh, uh, from their perspective, that you were engaged in one pond, and then you rightly mentioned that there's a lot of networking that goes into the people, mobilizing and getting the things done on the ground. I'm just curious to understand, when you talk about your current endeavors in water. Are you still doing those engagements on a regular basis? Or by this, I mean to say, are there more ponds in your life? Or what are the other water endeavors going around?
Okay, so talking about my current profile with Bhojal Society, it is more like a holistic approach. It's not just doing a pond restoration, because it is a vertical where we mandate to restore and rejuvenate ponds. Apart from that, waterproofing is there. When I talk about waterproofing, it's about creating rainwater harvesting unit. It's about stopping leakages in the various places. It's about minimizing water wastage by interesting and innovative design solutions, like, for example, aerator in taps. So this is the next. Third is we also very much interested in biodiversity, because we know that Haryana is specifically having very low forest cover, and without forest you cannot call rains. So definitely, if we want more water on our land, we have to conserve our forest and we have to increase the forest cover. And fourthly, policies, because at the end of the day, everybody who was working on the ground is driven by the policies. So we identify those gaps and we push government to take the right steps to mend these policy gaps, so that effective implementation can happen on the ground.
Interesting. You mentioned very strong 4 points, which are very professional, technical. I want to now turn around the questions and bring the questions to you as a woman,
Yeah.
because you know why we are having this discussion, because we want to learn women's journey into the water sector. So when you as a woman work on the field, pardon my neck, throat, how is it for you to really work on the ground as a woman leader, and interacting with all kinds of stakeholders? I mean, where you are very much aware, I guess, that it is very male dominant society, and it is also the water sector itself is a male dominance. So
Yes.
how do you find yourself in those kind of networking events, and also working on the ground? Where do you position yourself, and how do you really steer your things around and work around it?
Yeah. So, Mansi, fortunately, I live in a place which is known as the Millennium City. So, it is having a more kind of a global culture. So, that is how women participation is pretty much high compared to any other place. Though, yes, I belong to Jaipur, which is comparatively a place where women participation is very less. So, to answer your question, when I started my journey, I didn't get much hurdle in terms of being woman, not getting a chance to speak my mind or to reaching out to people. It's rarely happened that somebody turned down, that not willing to meet or not willing to give an opportunity. uh, but yes, overall, if you see, number of male professionals are more in the sector, and but receptiveness has increased tremendously over the period because of strong lobby. Now women have a lot of for example, earlier this social media stages weren't there. Now whomsoever we are staying in different places, but we are placing ourselves united. So this is a boon for us. Earlier we were used to work on silos, so I am working in the Gurgaon, I do not know, you are somebody who is like minded, want to echo my word, want to second me, but you are not available. Now your availability is to me directly. So I can create a Zoom call, I can connect with you, and that is how you can approach people very quickly. But on the ground also you can see a lot of change, because earlier women were very much restricted to their home, and the breadwinner male used to tame them ki, okay, no, you don't get into this business. If typically if we are reaching out to any village as a NGO people, they look for what is the benefit, what you're going to do, how it is related to them. They have a lot of house chores to do, don't disturb their schedule. But much of my surprise, now rural women are very, very aggressive. They want to come out, they want to hear you, they want to participate, they ask questions. So thanks to again mass media, the social media, things are reaching to them. So they need not to let anybody know, but probably they are seeing a lot of things in their son mobile or their husband mobile or wherever they're getting a chance. So yes, awareness and connectivity is much better than what it was earlier.
Very interesting to know, and in fact, very encouraging to hear this, both at your work front, that it's more, receptive society now. I mean, whether on ground or in the organizations itself where you are engaging. And at the same time, you talk about women on the ground, whether urban or rural, are also more, proactive or more engaging in that
Yeah.
sense. Bringing the question back to you again, because we want to know you as a woman more when we are talking about the water sector also. Very curious, because being a woman professional and also running a family, and and doing all kinds of these engaging activities, how do you find your life's balance? Like, how do you do? It's a difficult question, but we would like to know this from you, because we want to appreciate that, because something which is not appreciated about women is that they are doing these all
Yeah.
activities together, but at the same time trying to match the professionalism which is anticipated or expected, as we call it, the way men are working in the water
Yes.
sector. We are among 1 in 5 men, huh? So we
Yes.
are already a very less number. So we are anyway burdened to do more if we wish to. Otherwise, there are other ways. But just to understand how you are really getting your professional, personal life getting along together. Do you also start practicing water at home, as I mean, many of us do? I mean, we start bossing around in the house as well in terms of water conservation. Just kidding. Just wish to know from you. Thank you.
Yeah. So, so it is really, really very, very important, and I think it has been talked about a lot. Work-life balance and how women can create a balance between their professional life and their family life, but on ground, it is not really practiced much. So you can find a lot of literature, a lot of write-up, quotations, etc. So we did a very interesting webinar on 8th March on World's Women Day, and the topic was Neer and Nari. So we tried to figuring out the fact that some or the other way historically women is always associated with water. Be like a
Yes.
water, women are flowing, women are calm, contained. So it has a amazing resemblance with water, but at the other hand probably other aspect is also very much required to understand that woman is equally fierce like water when it has a amazing power to do certain things. So of course work life balance in today's professional scenario is a challenge, because at the end of the day what your actions should be louder than your words. Your children are watching you, because nowadays they are the next baton holder. They see your actions and they ask questions. So like we have been coming too far from what it was. Now children are also pretty empowered. They ask you that, okay mama, if you are talking about water wastage, then why probably didi, somebody who is working at home, is wasting so much of water? Why you're not stopping granny? Usually the older people has a tendency not to think much about water. Why you're not saying? So that pushes you to think at a point that what you're talking about you must do at your home first. So fortunately in my childhood I have seen amazing water conservation activities at my home. Being raised in Jaipur, which is very a semi-arid area, and we have a garden which was pretty big as per the water availability. So it was always being a challenge for us to feed those plants with water, which as I mentioned we used to store by waking up early morning 4:30 or 5 a.m. So so what we did, whatever the kitchen water was coming out, we directly channelized them directly to the plants, so that there can be a regular water supply given to specifically bigger plants like neem and mango, which do not require everyday watering thing. And it really worked very well, Mansi. Though that time, since I was young enough, so I didn't realize that my home itself is working on a sustainable model. But now when I am practicing these things, I am seeing a lot of reporting, a lot of fancy words talking about presentation given. At the end of the day, these are small things which can be practiced at home, and you can save a lot of water. So yes, for example, we have a culture at home that we don't give anybody full glass of water. We give little bit, because it's a portable, it is very expensive water, it is coming out of a machine which is consuming electricity as well. So we need to respect each and every drop, and that will actually bring the change.
Interesting. Because we have to also learn the younger generation how things will be in water sector. Taking things further, again, in the womanhood aspect of it, I have a serious question to understand from you. Why do you think, despite the very idea that Neer and Nari are inseparable, and I have a saying, by the way, which I crafted some 8-10 years ago. I say, जिस समाज में नीर और नारी की अवस्था ठीक नहीं है, वो उदास समाज है और रहेगा. और जिस समाज में नीर और नारी की अवस्था ठीक होगी वही उदार समाज कहलाएगा in future में. So we are far from there, because we have seen mother is the most abused person in the society, and same goes to the river. So bringing that question back to you to understand, because it's this conversation is part of the research also. Why do you think, despite women being so closely connected to the water matters, whether fetching water for the home, or now we have quite a number of women professionals in the country, why do you think we still lack that conviction from the women's side, or opportunities from the overall society, that we have such less women water professionals? Or do you think they are not properly documented or acknowledged, or they are not known in the sector, and there are many women? I mean, I'm talking about 1 in 5 in the global measurement, so which is much lower in India as well. What do you think are the reasons, and what do you think we can do as a network of women leaders to really do something little bit to ensure that more women are convinced about joining the water sector?
Yeah. So
there are two questions, huh?
Yeah. So if you see, Mansi, to answer your question number one, that why there is lack and why women professionals are not in the water sector, if you see, our social fabric is very interesting, because I am fortunately living in a very upscale urban area where women professionals are more in number. But I am sure if you go to so-called B-tier, C-tier cities, women professionals are overall is less in numbers. Still, there are patriarchy attitude where women are not really appreciated working outside. So in urban setting, women are working more, and then imagine most of the women are employed in sectors which are not into development or sustainability sector. So that is how probably number of women who are working in water sector is less. Traditionally in water sector, maximum person who are employed were related to engineering background, civil engineers, because they are working on wastewater treatment plant, and these are harsh area to work. So that is how many civil engineer, women civil engineer we do have, and really they are deployed to such water treatment activities or something. And as far as related to NGOs, they always have a bigger umbrella of working, where probably water is one of the subject, but may not be focused one. So this is probably a reason where participation is less. But fortunately, with upcoming new schemes, for example, I can see that last year CSR Amendment Act 2021 came up. And now since CSR Amendment Act came up, so there is a huge pressure on corporates that they have to do substantial impact work on reducing their water footprint. Since they have to do this, they have to hire people, and that is how the opportunities are increasing in water sector. So definitely opportunities will increase for women as well. To answer your second question, that how probably we can increase the number of women participation, is encouraging those unsung heroes. There are a lot of women in our communities who are not professional, but probably doing much more community work, even pertaining to water, because water has a very significant relation to health as well. And traditionally many women are working in health sector for the family welfare. So we probably can join these dots. Women who are working for family welfare health center, they are very much aware of what kind of water scenario is there. So connecting them would be very much helpful. We have to encourage people who are probably, because unfortunately with my experience I have seen, if you are a technocrat engineer who understands the subject, or you are an analyst who can quickly prepare a report or a presentation, is appreciated in the sector. But we need to understand that our word should reach out to the last person, to the society. So we need more and more people who can create huge magnitude of awareness. And probably somewhere awareness is not enough. We have to create the willingness to do something. So we need to increase our chain, and probably Wiki Water Resource Council is one of that example.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We move on to our last bit of set of questions, and it has been very crisp answering, by the way, to understand more things from you. You have been in the sector for how many years, Madhumita, now?
It's in water sector, typically it's 6 years.
It's 6 years. Very good. So you have a long way to go, and we would like to understand where do you really see? Do you have made some bigger plans, or do you really envisage that you have some unfinished works which you really wish to do in the coming years, and you have big goals? Or how would you like to craft your future visions of water, and where do you think we can also assist you, or maybe we can join you in your movements? So
Absolutely.
very keen to hear that.
So, Mansi, since I have specifically 6 year experience in water sector, but otherwise I am a 10+ year of experience in sustainability and development sector. One thing I have understood, tapping the children is very, very essential. You can
Yes.
see that whatever they are learning at school, they bring back that to the home, and those learnings are very, very touching to parents and the family member in large. When they reach out to them and they push them, they nudge them, they are really willing to do something. Otherwise, usually what happens in our society, the top is the older people who have lived their life, and now they are at a stage where we can get the information how probably the past glory was, because they have a lot of information, they have amazing knowledge they can share. I mean, if you go to Rajasthan, you can see beautiful forts are there, and they all have water conservation units in them, and you will be amazed to see that those units are still working after 500, 600 years of existence. So this is not something really new. This is something we just have to make it more fashionable. Khadi came out never to be a fashionable, but now it's a fashion statement. So something which is very trivial, very simple, can be very much talked about if you present it that way. So we just have to talk more about water. We have to tap the younger generation. We have to tap the older people to get the wisdom, what the glory was in the past. And the middle people like us, who are often busy in their livelihoods and they are rushing here to there, needed to be nudged all the time, that do the right thing, do the right thing, do the right thing. So this is the sector where I'm focusing, and I would like to work in future.
Very good, very good. We have a very soft question for you, where we would like to know which are the areas where you think you would require an improvement, because as you know, the whole work is around women leadership. One thing is working on water sector, but then as you rightly mentioned that you have a vast experience in sustainability also, where water is one of the components, right? And you are also aware of the women leadership scenario in the country, and this is where we are trying to converge water as well as women leadership here. What do you think? What kind of skill sets you would like to see that it will help you to make you a more stronger leader? You are still already a leader, but then we all know our own strengths and weaknesses, and it's good to understand, because then we can also try to work around it together, and we want to organize some sessions, and that's why this question has come.
Yes.
So what are the, and you can also answer this from other women perspective also, like what kind of skill sets which we require to really give that confidence to women that they are women leaders and they have to take this responsibility, because leadership is about responsibility.
Yes.
And leadership is about be able to mobilize masses, which you are doing very very nicely. So what are your suggestions on this, yours for yourself also, what kind of skills and what kind of skills others should also acquire?
Yeah. So if I talk about myself, yes, I would like to putting myself like a water only, but one part I am very good at, that I have because I have studied chemistry, I have studied industrial microbiology, I have studied environmental science. So amazingly, this interdisciplinary exposure helps me to understand the subject, its various aspects. And so this is the calmer part of the water, which I'm very good at. But at the other hand, the fierce part of water, expressing yourself, speaking in middle of people that you are wrong, what you're talking about is not correct, and making a statement, something where I really want to work upon myself, because I usually resist confrontation, but I think this is the high time that we have to comfort with the people who think that it is not a challenge or this is not a upcoming problem. So this is something for myself. And in general, yes, as a I think we have to reach out to more and more employer, and we need to let them understand that women can do amazing work by being a homemaker, by being a mother, by being a full-time professional. So not restricted their participation only if they are a full-time professionals. There is an opportunity, they can work from home, they can write amazing blogs, they can write amazing stories for kids to learn and understand. Because once you start giving them bigger, smaller, and customized opportunities, they will be willing to come forward. A lot of women resist to come forward because they cannot commit such a big amount of time, having their family constraints or other challenges. So why not we reach out to them in their comfort zone and see what amazing thing they can do. We have to identify community leaders who are working in this sector selflessly. Why not to facilitate them, why not to give them some opportunity to earn through, so that the motivation keeps going.
Oh, very interesting question. We were about to move to the last leg of it, but then because of your answer, I'm quite intrigued to understand. Could you give us some example how one can reach out to these women and really, or if you have had some your first-hand experience, how that can be done, where we can encourage more women, even at domestic level, as you are mentioning, although I have a very intriguing question to understand, how do we say differentiate between a professional woman and a non-professional woman? Because I have a serious problem in that itself. Is it the livelihood? Is it the earning? Or is it the concern? Is it the engagement? I mean, I may be engaged all the time, but not earning at all. Will that be considered professional? Or I may be earning a lot, but actually not doing a substantial contribution to the society. Will that be considered more professional? So that's a very, very,
Yeah.
a very difficult question for me
Yes.
all the time. But just to keep it simple for you, would you like to give us some example or some ideas on how to reach out to more women? Because as you know, the Water Resource Council is committed to identify more women. And
Yes.
all of you are there, and you all have the duty and responsibility to identify more. So any ideas on how do we go out and identify first and then do the amplifying of their work, which we are trying to do? Acknowledge and appreciate is part and parcel of this whole study and work. So any first-hand experience. Thank you. And then I leave to Vandana to take the last leg of the question, but over to you, Madhumita.
Yeah. So, as you wonderfully said, Mansi, that it's not necessary somebody is working full time, is passionate about the cause, because for many of us, it probably a profession to earn the money to live our life. And there is nothing wrong about it, because at the end of the day, through that, you are giving your services to the cause. And there are women like you who are extremely passionate about the cause, irrespective they are earning or not. But if I talk, see, there is a part of class, people who are passionate about the subject, they will come forward in spite of any or every
Of
hurdle.
what may.
But there are people who are not really passionate but can substantially do a lot of good work in this particular sector. They are probably very good writer, so they can talk about water through their writing skills. At the end of the day, we want the subject to reach out to as many people we can. So she may not be passionate about water, but she knows how to write a blog which has the capacity to reach out to the youth. There is a woman, she sings fantastically. Let her sing a song on water, which will reach out to a huge number of people. So that is how we have to identify an individual passion which can be connected with water, and then it will work for us. So that's what all the time my endeavor is. When I talk about like-minded people, is where we are willing to take it forward. Okay, fine, I have a set of skills, I do not know how to make a fantastic presentation, but I know how to reach out to number of people. I will bring the audience for you. There is another person in our group, she is fantastic at making the presentation, but she do not know how to reach out and bring hundred of audience to see her presentation. So if we both are working together, we will make the miracle. So yes, individually at our level, we can identify the set of skills around people around us. And definitely we must reach out to male also, because they can, or they are not, every male is there to push women away from the sector. They are also very much encouraging, they also help you. I know I'm working because somebody is backing me, helping me. So that is how we can bring more and more and women on the sector, and the chain can keep on going.
Yeah, thank you so much. You actually nailed it. For that matter, I have been thinking for a long time, both in women in architecture and women in water, that I should start talking to men about this subject, because that will be more useful and even more enlightening to understand where can we, unpack this complexity of
Yes.
patriarchy. So
Yes.
instead of women talking about women, let us have men talking about women, because
Um,
as you rightly said, it's not about that all men are XYZ or all women are in a vulnerable situation. So I think that's a good way to bring the closure side of our conversation. And I will hand it over to you, Vandana, to do the last question and also vote of thanks. Thank you, Madhumita. Over to you, Vandana.
thank you, Mansi.
Thanks. I was truly enjoying the conversation between the two of you. It was like two good friends having that conversation. Thank you for enlightening us. As we are approaching the fag end of it, Madhumita, you have been very vocal about reaching out to one and all everybody, and also reaching out to men. That's a very rare statement to hear from women leaders per se, that how to enable men to become part of our forays of discussions. Just the last bit we want to hear, like a very crisp message. One thing that you clearly mentioned was, collaboration and encouragement from the peers to another professional or non-professional. But keeping your professional side on the front, what would be one or two key messages that you would like to give to the young people? We have Harshita, Kalpana, these are all upcoming, a cadre of leaders that we are looking forward to building. So if you can give out one or two tips to them so that they can lead a better journey on leadership level.
Yeah. So one thing I have learned with my own experience: be a good listener. Listen to people around you. There is a lot of wisdom around us, but seldom there are less seeker. So be a seeker. Have the appetite to learn. Don't worry about your mistakes. We all do mistakes all the time. Still, I'm doing. So I don't mind doing anything wrong as long as my intentions are not wrong. So there is a worth trying and failing and learning out of that. And at the end of the day, please uplift the people who is next to you rather than pulling them down, because often it happens in professional life that even if we are working for a cause, human nature, behavior, vulnerabilities, push them to do certain wrong things which shouldn't be there. Even if your fellow colleague, your junior, your senior, somebody is doing good work, he or she needs some help, and you can, you definitely reach out to that. And often there is another thing I would like to specifically mention here. We are living in the era of social media. What you are eating in the evening, it is coming within a minute on your different pages. And so we all love to showcase what we are doing. There are people who are doing amazing work and probably is by nature not showcasing, as we call flexing. They are not doing so. If you know them, encourage them. Everybody need a little push and they can do amazing work. And if you think you can do that, please do so.
Thanks a ton, Madhumita. Can't thank you enough by saying Mayor, thank you. I would like to reiterate to my audience that how Madhumita has beautifully taken us from her childhood memories from Rajasthan, Jaipur, to all the way to her current work profile, which is based out of Gurgaon. The kind of initiatives which you have done beautifully in terms of reaching out to the masses at large, and the power that the work networking brings to us. I think you have given us a very strong faith in this whole networking bit that we are doing. And like you rightly pointed out, that women need to encourage other women as well as bring men to the fore of discussions. I think these beautiful pearls of wisdom we would like to safeguard to ourselves, and we would like to thank our audience for being part of it. Also, no need to forget, but yeah, once again, I would like to thank Vicky WRC for having taken this initiative of Blue Lips to capture essence of what journeys of, Madhumita kind of leaders have had. So thank you once and all. And we see you next week along with our guest speaker, Ms. Sharda Bharti. More information will follow on our social media handles. Do reach out to us. Thank you. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
everyone. It's lovely being part of beautiful group. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madhumita. Thanks, Vandana. And thanks, Kalpana and Harshita. See you all next week.